Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. This one is brought to you by my good friend and patron Warpbait. Warpbait, thank you so much for your support, man. If you would like to recommend a video topic for me to discuss on this channel, you can do so by joining the Patreon. You also get access to the Discord. Got a little community going on there and everything. Yeah, it's kind of got like a rotation of things. You can ask me to do like reviews or just general discussion videos. A whole bunch of like different stuff. Asked me to do a manga video. Yeah, it's a whole lot of fun. And a while back on Twitter, I was talking with Warp, and I mentioned something about Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, and I talked about how it was a really, really good movie. And he was like, "Well, now that I know that you enjoyed that," because he agreed that it is a good movie, because it is. He wanted to know what I was into growing up, like outside of anime, what I watched and so forth. So I'm going to talk about a couple of my hobbies outside of anime here. Growing up currently, some of them are actually the same sort of still. Yeah, I want to know what you guys also comment down below what you're into besides anime. Did anime help you get into those things? Vice versa? Because some of mine feed into anime a little bit. The first one that I'll mention, I guess, something that I brought up on the channel before, that's why I'm going to go with it first, is Yu-Gi-Oh!, the trading card game. So this is actually a burn deck that I'm bringing to an event this weekend. So I play Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively. I have for the last like 6 months or so. But I've played the game off and on most of my life. Just not at like a higher competitive level, I guess. Compared to where I am now, because now, I can drive to events and stuff like that. But I used to play the game with my friends a whole lot when I was young. I actually played Yu-Gi-Oh! Before I played any video games. My parents did not let me play video games when I was a kid. It wasn't until like middle school age, really. When I was younger, I would play the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. And I would watch one of the first anime that I watched. The anime completely breaks all the rules and everything. It's pretty nuts. You're not gonna learn the card game from the anime, but the anime is enjoyable, sort of, for what it is. J-Chip is way more into it than I am. But I kind of just watched it for the cards, and I was more interested in the game itself. I like the tangible nature of the card game. I do play it online as well, but it's still kind of not the same. It is sort of pay to win, like almost every card game. Like, the best cards are going to cost you a whole lot of money. The best decks in the world are going to be some of the most expensive cards and so forth. I am generally looked down upon in the community because I play shit like a burn deck. If you know anything about trading card games, everybody hates burn players and anything anti-meta control-y kind of stuff. I'm trying to think what people in like Magic might call it. I think Magic has burn. I don't know, but I like trolley decks and control decks. I guess if you are a Magic player, I've been told that I should play blue. That's what I know. Like blue red or something, like a combo. Which I'm pretty sure that there are decks that are both. But yeah, I don't play the most like meta stuff out there in the world. I like to have fun with it. Build as many different decks as I can. I have a whole bunch of different trolley decks. I would rather spend money on like 10 fun decks versus like one insane meta deck, because that's kind of how Yu-Gi-Oh! Works. For the same amount of money that you could invest in something that might get you to nationals, you could make 10 decks with. So yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is something that I've been into for a long time, and I would say it sort of helped me get into anime, because like that and Pokemon when I was growing up were just things that like I would see on TV and in like real life. It's kind of cool how like you see it like on the screen, and then like you have a tangible element to play, like a game, like the trading card game with and everything. So I really love the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. I did eventually start playing some video games as I've gotten older. I'm still not a huge gamer. That might be a topic for another video. But another game that I'm really into is Overwatch. And, yeah, I played on the PC. I started with it on console. Up until recently, I was on a competitive team at the platinum level. We would enter tournaments and scrimmages and stuff like that. I am looking now to start my own team. There was no like crazy drama or whatever with that. It was a I just decided to leave, and I wanted to balance out some stuff in my life and so forth. See if that happens. That's also a topic for a future video. Is balancing all these hobbies is hard as hell, by the way. Yeah, it's Overwatch is a game that I really enjoy. I like shooters. I used to like Halo a whole lot up until they started like ruining it with 4 and 5. I like the Pokemon games, although I played them like kind of late. Silver was my first one, and that was like it was I think way after it came out. Soul Silver is my absolute favorite, and I've played some of the newer ones as well. NCAA football, the video game. This is a Florida State shirt. I'm a big college football fan. I like the NFL too, but I like college more. I played football in high school, and I did track in college, but football is probably my favorite sport to watch, that and hockey, but college football specifically. I love the tradition aspect of it, the rivalry. As to why I like Florida State, I have family down there in Florida, not in the same city as the school, but it was just kind of an aesthetic choice. They had Miami gear and they had Florida State gear at their house, and aesthetically, I just liked the garnet and gold better than the orange and green when I was a kid. So I picked the Florida State stuff. They had a coach named Bobby. The stadium was named after him, Bobby Bowden Stadium. So I was like, you know what? This is a match made in heaven. So as I dug into them more and more, discovered some of the history. They're a really good team, so it made it easy to like them. Yeah. And I love NCAA Football 2013 is one of my favorite console games of all time. I play it still to this day. I play my Xbox 360 more than my Xbox One. I love that game. I love just doing season modes, dynasty modes, and stuff like that. You can make your own characters on the football team and stuff, and it's great. So really love college football. Really love Overwatch and Yu-Gi-Oh. As for other things that I watched growing up, I've always been fascinated with animation. So anything on I was a Cartoon Network kid more than a Nickelodeon kid. I would say Ed, Edd n Eddy is my favorite cartoon of all time. I was thinking about this recently when I watched Golden Boy, in that I wasn't laughing continuously in Golden Boy. There were moments that I really enjoyed, but with an episode of Ed, Edd n Eddy, I'm I bet you if I watched one tonight, I would be almost crying. That show, I could see the same episodes 10 times, and it's just so funny. I love the slapstick of it. It does slapstick well. It's not over the top like Three Stooges. I can laugh at for a couple episodes, but I can't really sit there forever and watch it. Ed, Edd n Eddy, I could watch a season in a sitting. That shit is fucking comedy gold. I love it. I love the characters. I love the crazy art style that it has. Not the best looking animation in the world, but it's definitely unique. Yeah, I love the fact that the three characters are so different from each other, yet they're best friends, and they are constantly trying to get these jawbreakers and shit and get the money, and failing miserably. And then I love all the slapstick humor. And yeah, it's a show that's not scared to make fun of itself, that it's a cartoon and everything. And it's a lot of, I feel like in modern day they probably wouldn't make something like Ed, Edd n Eddy. I feel like I don't know. Not that the show's overly violent, but there's a lot of hitting each other and people getting hurt and stuff like that. And I don't know. I feel, man, none of that say that out loud. It makes me feel like an awful person. I like Jackass, and Viva La Bam and all that shit too. So that stuff is right up my alley. I love watching people do dumb shit and getting hurt. But yeah, Ed, Edd n Eddy is great. We mentioned Scooby Doo and Zombie Island. Awesome movie. I think it's might be the only Scooby Doo movie I remember liking. I think the Cyber Chase one was okay. But yeah, I was mostly an Ed, Edd n Eddy guy, Cartoon Network. trying to think what else. Oh, Courage the Cowardly Dog was on Cartoon Network. That's an awesome show. Not as consistently funny as Ed, Edd n Eddy, but bizarre and out there. If you've never seen Courage, go back and go find some pirate site and watch the shit out of that, because it's kind of a creepy show. Yeah, I really like Courage. I watched this anime. We're getting back at Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. This is if I on Nickelodeon I would watch like Rocket Power, and SpongeBob, but more so I really liked Ed, Edd n Eddy. And you know what? The other thing is Ed, Edd n Eddy was on like pretty consistently, like right before I would go to school. That's kind of when I was, allowed to sort of watch cartoons and so forth. And it might have been on again later in the day. I don't know. I also started watching Adult Swim at a very young age. Yeah, no, my parents were like on me about video games, but they let me like watch TV pretty late at night. So like a lot of like the old school like Adult Swim stuff, like Aqua Teen, Home Movies, if you remember that far back, C-Lab 2021. I loved all that shit. Like Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. A lot of like the older shows. I still watch Adult Swim to this day. It's still awesome for cable. If I am to watch cable, it's probably going to be that. Family Guy, The Simpsons. We used to watch The Simpsons at dinner time. Yeah, I'm a big fan of all that. As for today, I don't watch nearly as much cable anymore. I'm way behind on Steven Universe, but I do like that show a lot. That might be the only thing I still really watch on Cartoon Network. As for Adult Swim, Family Guy, Robot Chicken's pretty good. I'm sure there's something I can't remember. I spend a lot of my time, if I'm not watching anime or reading manga, or doing anything that I've already mentioned, playing Overwatch or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever. I've found an affinity for certain Let's Plays. I'm a fan of Markiplier. I think his stuff is really cool, mainly because he plays like scary games that I can't play scary games. Although I enjoy the story. I enjoy horror movies, right? But I don't want to... I enjoy horror games, but I don't want to get scared by them. I'd rather get scared just from watching somebody else do it. I don't have the guts. I'm not man enough. And he's pretty entertaining. He's got this cool, like, booming, like, deep voice. He's a cool dude. Does a lot of charity stuff, too. I'm sure everybody knows who Markiplier is. I don't know why I'm explaining it. Oni Plays is also a really good channel. They do a whole bunch of, like crazy Let's Play stuff. They're freaking hilarious. It's Chris O'Neill and a whole bunch of animators from Newgrounds. They do that. They've done the Hellbenders was a animated series that they did. You can check that out on YouTube because it's freaking hilarious. Anything that those guys do is like gold. But yeah, they do a whole bunch of like Let's Play stuff. They do podcasts and everything. It's a channel I'm really into. I'm really big into YouTube. That's how I kind of started doing this. I'm a big fan of Bob Samurai and Black Critic Guy. For a while, Glass Reflection, Arcada. Although I haven't watched him in a while. Nothing really against him, but a lot of people will give me some shit about this. I watch Digiro After Dark, but we're starting to get back into anime, I suppose. But yeah, and it's hard balancing all of these hobbies. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm probably preaching to a lot of choirs here, but I'm the kind of person, because I am competitive, because I come from a sports background, like I said, did football and track and everything. I like to sort of get good at things, I guess. And the idea of getting good at anime is sort of watching a whole ton. I guess it's the dumb excuse I make in the back of my head. So when I feel like watching anime, I'll focus heavily on that. I become fixated on that. I think my problem, and I think the problem with a lot of people with certain hobbies, is fixation. And I get fixated on one thing, and then I could easily sort of get bored of that for like a couple days or whatever. So I kind of like to mix it up to avoid that. I'll play like Overwatch for like a couple days, do that after work for hours, then go to bed and don't watch any anime that day, don't play any Yu-Gi-Oh that day or whatever. That's Monday. Tuesday I might play Yu-Gi-Oh for hours. Then I might watch one episode of anime before bed or something like that. Wednesday might come along and I might watch 4 episodes of an anime, but then I'm not going to do the other things. It's kind of like I kind of like mix it up. I could spend like, you could break up the time or whatever, but I don't know. I like to sort of dedicate my evening or whatever after work and stuff towards sort of like one thing. So that's kind of why I run into these issues. But yeah. These are all like my other, well, not all my other hobbies, but some other hobbies I could sort of think of off the top of my head. If you guys are any similar, let me know down below what you guys. Were you guys? I'd like to know. Were you more of a Nickelodeon kid or a Cartoon Network kid? Were you a fan of Courage and Ed, Edd n Eddy and like Adult Swim? I guess I can almost say I was more of an Adult Swim kid. As weird as that sounds. But yeah, let me know down below. Thank you so much again, Warp, and to all my fellow patrons. You guys are really, really awesome people. And my name is Miasma. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.